I'm Gary Lee along with Harlan Hutchison, and welcome to the Ozark Marketing Fall Sports Banquet. And we're covering high school football and volleyball for area teams in which we follow in this immediate listening area. And Harlan, it's been a great ride, hasn't it?
It's been a weird ride. I think that's for sure. No year like 2020. And you have to give a lot of credit to the school personnel at all these different schools and many others who really worked hard to make this thing come off. It would have been pretty easy, I would imagine, in some cases, just to say, let's not even try to have a sports season. But not only did that happen, most teams were able to get in all their games, and it turned out to be a very good year, and some very good players got a chance to perform this year.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite the roller coaster ride, and we got it in. You know, you and I had talked before the season ever got going, and we were kind of scratching our head, wondering if we would reach this point, a full, complete volleyball and football season.
And some weren't able to achieve that, but at the same time, the majority of the games were played, and the athletes got to play, and folks, in many respects, got to see them play. But today, what this is we have area schools who were both football and volleyball schools, and this allows us to make this a co-ed event and let the coaches at these respective schools that are involved choose 2 players from each of their teams to honor for their outstanding work on the court or the field, and also, in a lot of cases, in the classroom and just in the community. This is not just about athletic achievement, this is also about character. And we've had that displayed many times in our previous banquets. Now, of course, we don't have food for everybody here today, but at least we do have the basics of what the banquet is all about, and that is the coaches talking about their players, but we also have the basics of the support that we get from area businesses who are sponsors of this banquet, and we have several that we want to thank here at the outset, which we will. We'll start and we'll go through these, but we'll backtrack and talk about them again as we go from school to school. Banquet sponsors include from Ava Emerson Climate Technologies and Missouri Ozarks Community Health, from West Plains Physical Therapy Specialist Clinic, along with Dave Thomas Shelter Insurance. Also, we want to say a big thanks in Thayer to FNBC, Mills Excavation and Hauling, along with Allen Supported Living. And Gary, we have other sponsors, including from Highland.
Yeah, absolutely. North Arkansas Electric, and Mountain View Birch Tree, Designer Hair, and Mountain Grove. We've got Shelter Insurance, Derek Farron, and Mountain Home. We have Long Chiropractic. So we really appreciate all the support we get all year long for doing high school sports in these areas and towns and communities that we really cherish and love.
At the end of this, we'll also be talking about a couple other things, and that is we have awards at the end of each banquet for our coaches of the year and players of the year, and they will be announced when we're just about done with all this.
You got to watch the whole thing. You got to watch the whole thing to find out who's going to win that, right?
Yeah, I could really mess it up right now, but I think I'll hold on, and we'll just wait till the very end before we tell everyone. So let's go ahead and get to it, and we'll start with Ava. And again, we want to thank their table sponsors, Emerson Climate Technologies and Missouri Ozarks Community Health. And we have coaches Swafford and Loge for the football and volleyball teams with their athletes.
I'd like to introduce Jacob Bruffett. Jacob played linebacker for us. He's a senior for us. He also played offensive tackle. He's been a starter for us for 3 years and has just done a great job. My other player that I have today is James Pepke. James plays right guard for us. He's been playing for the last 3 years, does an awesome job. Both of these guys had great senior seasons this year. They're hard workers in the weight room and they're leaders on the field. We will miss them next year.
Thanks to Dan Swafford, who was our coach of the year last year at our banquet, and his football team, the Ava Bears. Now we're going to segue from Ava football to Ava volleyball. Bailey Loge is the head coach of the Lady Bear volleyball team.
I am Bailey Loge, the volleyball coach here at Ava. I would like to introduce 2 seniors to you. First off, Sarah Boyd. Sarah was our setter this season. She did an awesome job. She had over 250 assists and also earned second team all-conference in the SCA. Along with her is Kaylee Downs. She received honorable mention in the SCA and had over 200 assists or digs in this season playing as our libero. Congratulations, ladies.
And now we'll move on to the West Plains teams, and what a year it's been just overall in sports at West Plains High School, along with the football and volleyball teams who had great years. The cross-country team was a state champion for the girls, and the boys as well were right up there at the very top. So great year for West Plains High School sports, and we want to recognize our table sponsors, Physical Therapy Specialist Clinic, along with Dave Thomas, Shelter Insurance. And so let's go, first of all, to the football side for the Zizzers, who gave the eventual state champions quite a run in the state playoffs. Here's head football coach of the Zizzers, Matt Perkins.
Hey, Coach Perkins here, 2020 head football coach for the Zizzers, and I've got a couple of my players here. We had a great season. Finished 10-2, won the Ozark Conference, won the district, and eventually lost in the quarterfinals to Helias. But with me today, I've got Kyler Stowers here on my right and Chance Eldringhoff here on my left, two of our senior football players that played some pivotal roles for us this season. Kyler is he's our jack of all trades, our Swiss Army knife, and throughout Kyler's career, he played about every position on the field, from center to long snapper. He's kicked off. He's played quarterback. He's played offensive line, defensive line, linebacker. And this year, Kyler played wide receiver for us. He is a coach on the field. We've put a headset on him before and let him talk to the coaches on the sideline. He stole signals from the other team. Just a fantastic mind for the game. His final game of his career, he caught a touchdown against the #1 and eventual state champion, Helias Crusaders. And just a great player, and really what Zizzer football has been about here the last few years. He's a leader on the field, and very proud of him. Going to miss him a lot, and Kyler, thanks for everything you've done for the program.
Thank you, Coach.
On my left over here, we've got Chance Eldringhoff, and Chance was an all-conference player for us this year at safety. Chance has had a really interesting career. He started for us a year ago and lost that job, and really could have went a lot of different directions with his career. A lot of kids would have pouted or maybe even quit the team, and Chance didn't do that. He kept working. He developed even further from what he was a year ago and turned into a fantastic player. He was our defensive leader. We put a lot on our kids to make adjustments on the field, and getting lined up is the most important job for our defense, and that was Chance's job. Chance was able to see what the offense was doing and make the calls on the field. He was literally an extension of Coach Pitts as the defensive coordinator, and I know Coach trusted him with just about everything. We wouldn't have been near the team we were without Chance. It's going to be really hard to replace him.
Thanks to Coach Perkins and his players, and we now will switch gears and go to volleyball. And Haley Beasley had a very good team this year at West Plains, and they even played for a district championship. Let's check in with her and see who her representatives will be as we talk West Plains volleyball with Coach Haley Beasley.
Hi, I'm Haley Beasley, the head coach of West Plains Zizzer volleyball team. This year we had a great season. We doubled our wins from last year, and we made it to the district championship and got second in our district. To my right is Ashton Judd. She's a junior. This year she is our 5-1 setter. She has a great job running our offense, and this year got really comfortable being an offensive threat as well when she was in the front row. She had great all-around stats, most assists, most aces, and she also had the 3rd most kills, so she had a really great season. To my left is Kinsey Brunson. She also had a really great season, great all-around stats, most kills, 2nd most digs. Both of these girls always work super hard, hustle harder than anybody, and great leaders on the floor.
West Plains had an outstanding fall season. Now we're going to go on down into Oregon County and check in the Thayer Bobcats and football and volleyball. We're going to start with volleyball and head coach Jennifer Seibert with her selection of the volleyball girls in Oregon County. We want to thank, of course, FNBC and Mills Excavating and Hauling.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Seibert, and these are my athletes, Katie Wade and Maisie Pittman, that I have chosen for this award. Both of them are seniors at the Thayer High School, and both amazing volleyball players. They are great players, not only because they know the sport, but because they help their fellow freshmen, their fellow sophomores, and their fellow juniors become better players. They've both stepped up this year and become great leaders for me. COVID has kind of taken a little bit out of us, throughout the season. In fact, starting off not even knowing if we were going to get to have a season, to being able to go to different schools and play. Sometimes we had to cancel games and reschedule, but we still made it, and both of these girls made it through this season, doing a great job on everything that they needed to.
Thanks, Coach Seibert, again for all that you do with the Lady Bobcats down in Oregon County in Thayer. Now we're going to shift gears. We're going to go to football. And the Thayer Bobcats, for the last couple of years, have done a fantastic job, and they rocked and they rolled this year. Let's check in with head coach Billy Weber. And we want to thank, of course, Allen Supported Living.
All right. Hey, I'm Billy Weber of the Thayer Bobcats. These are our two players that we've nominated this year. We have Landon Madden here on my right, Jordan Madden here on my left. Believe it or not, these guys are twin brothers. Very good players for us. Landon played inside linebacker for us, and was his first year to start on the football team, and just did a tremendous job from start to finish, but really improved in games 2 through probably 5, to where he was just making plays all over the field at linebacker, at the end of the season and into the playoffs, and really being a solid linebacker, playing in the backfield and really from sideline to sideline. Jordan has started for 3 years at running back and an outside safety or DN spot for us, and played the fullback spot. Ran the football tremendously well, averaged over 8 yards a carry. Caught the ball out of the backfield for us, primarily on our counter boot play action, and did a tremendous job then, as I said, at our defensive end spot. Had a pick here in the semis, had multiple breakups coverage-wise, and then, like I said, just anchored our defense on the edge, and both these guys are well-deserving.
And now we're going to move south of the state line, a little bit further away from Thayer, and it'll be the Highland Rebels who are going to be the featured team right now, featured school. And we'll start with, and by the way, before we get into the coaches with their players, a big thanks to everybody down at Highland for being participants in this. They really seem to enjoy it year to year, and we enjoy having them be a part of this. So the Highland Rebels, let's talk football. Adam Carter is the head football coach at Highland.
The 2 award recipients for Highland are Braden Figgins and John Thomas Daggett. Braden is an outside linebacker and running back for us, and John Thomas is a defensive end and tight end for us. Braden started on both sides of the ball in all phases of special teams, as well as John Thomas. Braden led the team with 653 yards rushing. He also had 35 tackles and 2 sacks. John Thomas's stats were he led the team in pancake blocks. When we needed something, we ran behind John Thomas. And defensively, he was a stand-up defensive end for us who contained the edge. He ended up with 7 sacks and 32 tackles. Very proud of John Thomas and Braden both. Our season, just like most everyone else's in Arkansas, were hindered with the COVID, the restrictions, the guidelines that happened there, and we had to miss 2 games. These 2 young men fought through it all. John Thomas was quarantined at one point. Braden made it all the way through. These kids showed up at practice every day, did everything we asked them to do, and couldn't be more proud of them. Started on June the 1st, just like everybody else in Arkansas, and they made it all the way through with one exception there. John Thomas got quarantined there at the end. great group of young men that we got to coach this year, including these two, and just very proud of them. And Highland's very proud of them, and they're very well deserving of the honor of the award tonight. So we appreciate the Ozark Radio Group for sponsoring this, and appreciate everybody that helps put this on all year, all the other sponsors. And again, I'm very proud of these two young men. Thank you.
Thanks to Adam and his players. We also want to remind you that the Highland Rebels table sponsor for this year's North Arkansas Electric. We are so appreciative of all the sponsors who help us put this thing together and make it happen. Now, volleyball time. Let's talk the Rebel volleyball season with the head coach, JoBeth Webb.
Thank you so much for including our volleyball program in this event. Our Highland Rebels enjoyed the best season in recent years while improving our final standing in a very tough conference. This year, we honor junior Ryan Hale for leading our team in aces and finishing in the top 3 in every statistical category. She is making a name for herself within the conference as a very well-rounded player, and we look forward to where she will take this team as a senior next year. The next player we are recognizing is senior Morgan Warren. She led the team in kills and blocks as a 6'2" middle blocker. She has definitely done her part in establishing Highland as a team to keep an eye on going forward. We wouldn't have made the strides we have made in this program without the play of Morgan, and we are so glad that she is able to receive this recognition as she leaves our program better than when she entered it. Both of these girls led our team through a year of uncertainty and helped make sure we were ready to compete every time we stepped on the floor. We were lucky to not have been affected by COVID until the very end of our season, and for that, we are grateful. Thank you again to these two amazing athletes and young women for representing Highland in such a positive way.
Yeah, again, thanks to the Highland Rebels and, taking part in this. This is a big undertaking that takes place, and again, it's virtual this year. OzarkRadioNews.com. You can tell your friends. Of course, it's going to be up for a while. You'll be able to share it as well. So thank you all for watching, and we're going to head down into the Mountain View Birch Tree Liberty Eagle territory and visit with some coaches down there. Both teams had a great run. The volleyball team, district champions again. I mean, they just keep rolling. Coach Sherry Toon does a fantastic job in volleyball in the SCA and in the district. So let's check in with head coach Sherry Toon, and we want to thank Designer Hair in Mountain View.
Hello, I'm Sherry Toon. I'm the Liberty High School volleyball coach, and I have with me today senior Peyton Bush and senior Aspen Smotherman. These two have been selected for our radio banquet this year. These two were our all-conference first team for me, all-district first team, and all-state first team. It was a difficult decision to pick my two because we are such a balanced team, but I chose these two just because I feel like they were the most consistent players day in and day out. We were 25, 6, and 4 on the year. We got moved up to Class 3 this year, so that was new for us. We got our first district title in Class 3, and then we fell in the sectional match. We're not very fond of our last game, but overall we had a pretty great season. Peyton, to my right, she led us in blocks this year, and she led us in kill percentage, and she was second in digs, and she was one of our co-captains. Aspen was a libero for us, and she led us in digs. She probably set a career record for us for digs this year, but we did move to 5 sets, so that kind of changes our record book as well. She was tied for third in aces, and she just was all around the floor and was one of our most consistent players.
Again, thanks, Coach Toon, for all that you do at Liberty High School. Now we're going to go over to football. And, Liberty went through a lot of changes. New coaches, graduating class, new scheme offensively. A lot of things were just different. But yet, some old things came back. And a lot of people really looked at the Liberty Eagles and thought, well, 5, 6 wins maybe. Well, the Liberty Eagles reeled off 10 wins this year. Coach Brock Carnegie, who has been on the staff for many years, now the head coach, stepping up, and his Liberty Eagles roared. Again, we want to thank Designer Hair, and let's check in with Coach Carnegie on his 2 recipients of these prestigious awards.
I'm Brock Carnegie. I'm the head football coach here at Liberty High School, and these are our 2 players that have won awards for the Ozark Radio Network. This is Tyler Watts. He was our quarterback. He's a junior this year. He threw for 1,800 yards and rushed for over 1,000 yards. He was also linebacker for me on defense with 89 total tackles. This is Zeb Corman. He's a senior. He's graduating this year, we hope. He played outside linebacker for me and had 110 tackles. Was our district player of the year on defense. Had just a fantastic year. Zeb also played some offense. You might have saw him at running back. You might have seen him at receiver. You might have seen him at tight end. He also did return some kickoff returns. I think 4, if I'm not mistaken, 4 of them for 176 yards, 2 touchdowns. So he kind of was our jack of all trades.
Now we're going to move to Mountain Grove. The Panther football and volleyball teams are represented in this banquet every year. And we also want to thank Derek Farron, who is the shelter agent in Mountain Grove, who is the table sponsor for the Panther teams. Now, on to football. The Mountain Grove Panthers are ahead of schedule. I think that's safe to say if you've paid close attention to Mountain Grove football over the last 2 seasons. They made some great strides this year and look for really good things in the next few seasons. And we'll check in now with the head coach of the Panthers and his players, Coach Brandon Rogers.
This is Coach Rogers, Mountain Grove head football coach. On my left is Jackson Holman. Jackson's been a starter for us for 2 years. Last year, Jackson tore his ACL in the first game of the year in the 3rd quarter, so he had a long recovery period. Came back strong this year and started all 12 games. He was first team all conference, all area, all district, and all state as 3rd team. So we're just very proud of Jackson for coming back and contributing to the team this year. On my right here is Alex Casas. He's been a 4-year player for Mountain Grove, 3-year starter, kind of the team captain on defense for the last 3 years. He's an all-conference football player, all-district, all-area, and he's really been our team leader. And his leadership helped us out this year, and just really proud of these 2 individuals.
Let's switch gears. It's volleyball now. And in the SCA conference, the Mountain Grove Lady Panthers and their head coach with her players. Here's Ashley Martin.
I'm Coach Martin from Mountain Grove Schools. My 2 recipients today are Kelsey Watson and Gracie Farron, 2 seniors that we had this year. Kelsey Watson on my left here, she was one of our middles for us. They were actually both middles. Kelsey was also nominated for 1st team all-district, 2nd team all-conference, and she doesn't know this yet, but she also won our most valuable player award for the season. So we haven't had our banquet yet, so that's news to her, but congratulations for that. And then on my right here I have Gracie Farron. She was also a middle for us, and she doesn't know this yet, but she won the blocking award. She led our team this year in blocks, so congratulations for that. Both are really good teammates. We're going to miss them greatly, but we're also super excited for their future.
Great job by Mountain Grove. It's just a great school, very rich history and sports programs. So moving on, let's go back south of the border. Let's cruise on down to Mountain Home on the beautiful Lake North Fork. And of course, you know, things are cooking in Mountain Home. Coach Steve Airy, formerly Willow Springs, Mountain Grove, West Plains, now head man at Mountain Home taking care of the Bombers, and they got it done. They went on a 23-game winless streak. Hadn't been into the playoffs since for 4 or 5 years. Coach Airy went down in his first year with his new coaching staff. 6 wins and made it to the Arkansas playoffs and got a playoff win. So let's check in with Coach Airy, the Mountain Home Bombers, and we want to thank Long Chiropractic.
I'm Steve Airy, and it's my first year at Mountain Home, Arkansas. And these 2 guys I have with me are Brock Boget to the left and Bryce McKay to the right. We finished the season 6-6, which is an accomplishment. I think it's been 2006 since they had won 6 games, and these 2 guys right here are a big reason why. To my left, Brock Boget. Brock played inside linebacker. He led the team in tackles with 121 tackles. He had 19 tackles for loss, 3 caused fumbles. He's recently being pursued to play some college football, and he's the man in the middle. You can tell by looking at him, he's a hammer. He's a dude. Guy to my right is Bryce McKay. Called Bryce Captain America. He gets it done on both through the air and through the ground. He's a guy that had to be reckoned with every Friday night. Usually the best athlete on the field every Friday night. And his numbers look like this. He had 1,505 yards passing, 14 touchdowns, 1,362 yards rushing, and 11 touchdowns, which totaled out to 2,867 yards and 25 touchdowns. He probably played 10 snaps on defense. We put him in on 3rd and long. We called it our jet package, just backing everybody up. Thought they were going to go long, 3rd and long or whatever. And he had 2 picks, probably 10 plays of defense. So he's a very good center fielder on the baseball team, and tracks the ball real well. Superb athlete. But these are 2 of my guys. Very proud of them. The hammer, Captain America.
Thanks, Coach Airy. Great job. Now let's go to Bomber Volleyball and Jill Day.
Okay, my name is Jill Davis with Mountain Home Public Schools, and this is Kylie Sabella and Riley Straka, and they are 2 seniors this year that played on the Bombers volleyball team, and we finished 14-8 this year. We were 4th in our conference, so we got to go to state this year, which we were really proud of. Riley is our Lady Bomber of the Year. She doesn't know that yet, but she is. A Lady Bomber of the Year for us means she is just, she represents what our program is. She's an amazing athlete, but even better teammate and person. Kylie is an all-state player. She led our team with kills, and she is also all-conference, and she was the all-star team nominee. So we are very proud of these 2 girls, and they will be truly missed.
As we continue with our virtual banquet here, we're going to move now to the Houston Tigers. And the Tigers had all kinds of stuff to overcome this year, but they fought right through to the end. And I know their head coach, Eric Sloan, is very proud of his football team. And here he is to talk about 2 of his players now as we talk Houston Tiger football with head coach Eric Sloan.
Hi, my name is Eric Sloan. I'm the head football coach here at Houston High School. Today I have with me Trevor Mitchell and Ty Franklin, both seniors. Both have been with me for a long time. Trevor played offensive and defensive line for us, led us in tackles this year from the defensive tackle position. Smart enough offensively to play any position up front. Just did a really good job, plays with a high motor, and that was pretty obvious in the all-conference honors. He made first team all-conference. He was first team all-district. He was first team all-area. Was a captain for us and just did a great job. Ty here, his season got cut short. He was our quarterback. He punted for us. He was our kickoff and punt return guy. Played D-back. The Ava game, he ran option play, pulled it, and got to the edge, and got tackled and broke his collarbone. Ended up having to have surgery, but he got cleared a couple days before the first basketball game, so I was excited to see him get to play senior year basketball. Both really good athletes, really good upstanding citizens, and I'm honored to be here with them today.
And now let's go to the volleyball side and the two representatives from this year's edition of the Houston Lady Tiger volleyball team. And we'll check in now with the head coach, Lauren Richardson.
Hi, I'm Coach Lauren Richardson. I coach volleyball at Houston High School, and my two recipients this year are Kelsey Gayer and Janessa Foster. If you've been to the banquet before, I typically choose girls not necessarily for their ability on the court, but a lot of the other things, the intangibles that they bring. So this year, Kelsey is a four-year senior. Has played for me. She's our giggler. She's the girl that kind of breaks the ice, makes everyone feel welcome, makes them feel happy. She's actually ended up being one of our best servers and a key defensive player for us this year, and she did a really good job. Next year she's going to go to OTC. It's going to be a dental hygienist when she grows up, if she can be a little bit calm when she's there and stick through it. But I know she's going to do a great job in whatever she does, and we will miss her next year. And then Janessa Foster. Janessa's played for me for 3 years, and Janessa didn't necessarily get a ton of playing time or didn't lead us in any statistical categories, but she's someone that I really depended on this year for her leadership. She's a true servant leader. She cares about her teammates. They would go to her for whatever they needed. She was always the one, kind of the mom of the group. Next year she's going to go to Ole Miss. She's going to major in political science and be a lawyer eventually, and I know she's going to do a great job too. And I will definitely miss both these girls and the things that they've brought to our program over the last 4 years.
Great job again there in Texas County, but we're going to stay in Texas County. And we're going to go to Cabul, and we're going to look at Cabul volleyball with, again, back-to-back SCA championships. They won their district and made it into the state playoffs, finally getting knocked out, I believe, in the sectionals. Let's check in with head volleyball coach at Cabul, Julia Reeves.
Hi, I'm Coach Julia Reeves from Cabul High School. These are my two award recipients this year, Josie Atkins and Gracie Campbell. Josie was SCA Player of the Year. She played right side and setter for me. She was a 6 rotation player. She's very smart. She was first team all district, first team all conference, player of the year, and all state this year. So we're really going to miss her this year. She's hoping to go play volleyball somewhere. We're working on that. I actually have some news to tell her, so haven't told her yet. And then this is Gracie Campbell. She was my libero this year. She did not play libero last year and then came in and played libero this year. New position. She did an excellent job at it. She was first team all district, second team all conference, and an all-state player for us this year. She actually had 60 aces on the year, which was 4th in our class all year, and then 422 digs. That was 2nd in class 2, so that's quite an accomplishment. So I'm really gonna miss her next year too. All of them, all 8 seniors. We ended the year 34-4. We were SCA champs, district champs, and quarterfinalists. So we actually lost to the state champs this year. So I'm proud of these girls and hope they go far in life.
Coach Reeves does a fantastic job. And new man at Cabul Bulldog football, Tyler Spittler. Coach Spittler, of course, graduated at Liberty, played for Coach Ackland, and worked as an assistant coach in West Plains under Coach Airy, now at the head of the Bulldog pack in Cabul. Let's check in with Coach Spittler on his selections.
My name's Tyler Spittler. I'm the head football coach at Cabul High School. Here to talk about 2 seniors today. We got Quincy Flanagan and Will Johnson. First I'll talk about Quincy. He was my quarterback this year. He was an all, SCA honorable mention quarterback. And he was did a really good job for us all around. He's a good leader, really smart kid. I think he's about to be the valedictorian of his class, so that says a lot. And when you have a kid like that running your offense, you can do a lot of different things because he's super smart. But he had a pretty good year, had just right under 1,000 yards passing. But we went 6-5, which was the best that Cabul's done in a long time. Him and Will both did a good job of leading leading the team to being successful. We weren't as successful as we wanted to be, but it's better than it's been. Then we'll talk about Will Johnson. He was the tight end. He had transitioned from quarterback for us from the year before. Quincy actually took over for him. He was one of Quincy's biggest cheerleaders during all that. So he's a great teammate. Played linebacker for us as well. He was an honorable mention SCA tight end as well, and then I want to say, I really think he got all area. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but he did. He was overall, like, if I was going to pick one captain, it would have been Will. Just a hard worker, just trying to keep the team together, keep everything up going in practice, and keep everybody's heads up in the game and stuff. We're just going to miss both of them. They're about to be pretty successful kids in life.
We move on now to Willow Springs, and Polinsky Field is their home, and they had an interesting year this year, but again, Logan Schwalm always does a good job with his group there, and we're going to talk Bear football for just a few minutes here. Logan Schwalm with his two recipients for Willow Springs football. Here's Coach Logan Schwalm.
Hi, I'm Coach Logan Schwalm, Willow Springs Bears. Welcome. I want to introduce Avery Stolba, Landon Crudington. These are my two recipients of the Ozark Radio Network Fall Sports Awards. Here, Avery Stolba, he's a senior of ours. He played safety, slot receiver for us. He was an all-SCA honorable mention defensive back, all Southwest Missouri Football Coach Association honorable mention defensive back, and an all-district defensive back. His defensive stats for the year through 8 games were 57 total tackles with 2 interceptions, and on the offensive side, he had 7 receptions for 64 yards. Avery came out his junior year, took a little break there his freshman and sophomore year, but came out his junior year. We were very pleased to have him. He was easily in the mix on the defensive side of the ball. He quickly made himself one of our better defensive players. Week 1 this year, he battled through a deep thigh bruise. Week 2, hobbled, and we sat him week 3, and then it was just kind of sparingly until we got to about week 5, because it took a long time to heal, but he was tough as nails. Can't say enough about him. He's not afraid to hit you in the mouth on the defensive side. He's done everything we've asked of him, and I love and appreciate what he's given to the program and allowing me to coach him. Moving on to Landon. Landon Crudington's a junior. He played strong tackle and defensive tackle for us. He was all SCA honorable mention offensive line, and then all Southwest Missouri Football Coach Association honorable mention offensive line. Obviously, big kid. Really started to catch his footing and doing some damage on the offensive line for us this year. It was his first year of full-time starter on the offensive line, and he got better each week. He does everything we ask of him, and he never misses a workout, never misses a practice. Never have to worry about Landon showing up or not showing up. He'll be one of the guys that we'll count on to be a leader for his team throughout this offseason and leading into next year. Just like Avery, I love and appreciate everything he's given to the program thus far on making himself and his teammates better around him. Thank you.
Now it's on to volleyball. Christina Collins' Lady Bear volleyball team is the subject right now, so let's check in with Christina and her two recipients for this year's Sports Banquet Awards.
My name is Christina Collins, and I coach for the Willow Springs. This is Ashlyn Jones and Alyssa Van Almen. I had nominated them too because they did outstanding for me this year. Ashlyn Jones was my main setter. She had set the ball 1,786 times. She had 409 assists. Ashlyn Jones played all 6 rotations, and she was pretty much my only setter. We did have another setter, but she didn't set very much. Ashlyn received first team all district. She received first team all SCA. And then in the Class 3 District 10 Volleyball Awards, volleyball stats on the max prep, she was 3rd in our district. This is Alyssa Van Almen. She was our outside hitter. Alyssa, do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, just keep going.
Okay. Okay. This is Alyssa Van Almen. She is our outside hitter. She did all 6 rotations for us. She was one that can do anything. She dug, she hit, she set sometimes. She had done everything for us, so she's going to be very hard to replace. She had an injury last year that had kept her out of volleyball midway through season or beginning of season. It took her a while to come back, and then once she come back, she ended up starting to be our top spiker award at the end. She had 498 attacks, and she had 108 kills. Alyssa had 233 digs through the season. She ended up getting 2nd team All-District, 2nd team SEA, and in our Class 3 District 10 volleyball stat leaders, she was 8th in hitting, she was 9th in aces, and she was 4th in digs.
And again, congratulations, Harlan, to all these great athletes and coaches. And we just want to thank all the support that we get for this great event.
We do get very good support. The thing that we heard, especially when we started doing this, was especially for the schools in North Arkansas who aren't normally included in things like that more downstate,
Right.
and they were very happy to be a part of this, and we're very happy to have them be a part of this. But all the schools and all the coaches are very happy about the opportunity. In some cases, it's going to be players that maybe didn't get a lot of recognition in the course of the time they played in high school, but there's something to be said about showing up every day.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of characteristics that you develop from sports, from just simply doing that and being a good teammate and learning to be a good person. And the coaches are all proud of their kids and about the way that their careers have turned out, and more excited about how their lives will turn out.
Absolutely. We want to thank some great folks again in Ava, Emerson Climate Technologies, Missouri Ozark Community Health, over here in West Plains, Physical Therapy Specialist Clinic, along with Dave Thomas, your shelter insurance agent. In Thayer, FNBC, and Mills Excavating and Hauling, along with Allen Supported Living, and North Arkansas Electric in Highland, along with Designer Hair in Mountain View, and in, of course, Mountain Grove, Derek Farron, your shelter insurance agent, and in Mountain Home, Long Chiropractic.
Okay, now we're to the end where this is the point before we get up, take our centerpieces home, and walk around and take photographs. This is the part. This is the part of the evening where we name our coaches and players of the year. Now, this is selected by us and all these other things that you saw today. Each of the young people that were given awards were picked by their coaches. And so they know them better than anyone, and they know more than likely, who the correct person to choose would be. But in this particular case, we see these teams and athletes play through the course of a year. Coaches nominate players to be the player of the year. And then we choose, of course, the player of the year plus the coach of the year. So let's get to that right now. And let's start with players of the year. And we'll start with football. Some years it's pretty easy. Some years it's not so easy. But this year, there were some questions. But Gary Lee, the football player of the year, comes from Liberty High School. You saw him play a lot this season, and he put up some big numbers.
It was, again, I'll go back. Most people, that we talk with in sports, other play-by-play people, and, thought Liberty would have a little bit better year, but, than what they've had, but, 5-6 wins maybe. Well, Liberty reeled off 10 wins, and a key contributor in that is this year's recipient of the Football Player of the Year. And he did put up big numbers. A junior, Tyler Watts, congratulations. 3,000 yards of offense, over 30 total touchdowns, 1,800 yards passing, over 1,000 yards rushing. It was just incredible, and what this young man was able to do. And, you and I were there this week as well, and he won another award. through a faith-based group, which is very cool that you'll also be able to see during this. It's just, it's a great job for Tyler. Congratulations.
And I think that was through the Fellowship of Christian Athletes that he received that award. So yeah, same day he got some special recognition, and deservedly so. What a great year for Tyler Watts, and a great thing for Coach Carnegie to have him coming back next season. Now moving on to volleyball. Our volleyball player of the year is from Kabul, and we want to say her name should probably just have the word all incorporated in it because Josie Atkins was all everything this year. Kabul has been on a very impressive run, two-time conference champions back-to-back, and they also went undefeated in conference play this year. Josie Atkins, all-conference, player of the year in the SCA, all-district, all-state, all everything, and has had just a wonderful career. And so it's our pleasure to award Josie Atkins the player of the year for volleyball this year for our banquet. So congratulations to Josie and Tyler. And now we get to the coaches, and let's start with football.
Football. Well, you know, and that, again, these are really hard decisions to make. And we try to look at everything. And this selection here was just as hard as selections we've had to make in the past.
True. Like I say, some years it's easier than it is for other years. But this year, if you look at the situation that this particular coach came walking into, let's say just put yourself in the same spot. You walk into a program that hasn't won a game in 2.5 seasons. Well, what are your goals? To just win
one game?
Well, not this guy. And we were laughing as we were talking about this, and I asked one of his players, I said, did you ever hear the term that losing is not acceptable? And he just laughed. He said, well, every day, all the time. And Steve Airy, the head coach of the Mountain Home Bombers, it's really amazing. He comes into a program there that hadn't won in 2.5 years. He came into the West Plains program prior to that, and they went, in fact, his first year they went over, but they got better and better. But it's just breathtaking. Breathtaking how quickly Mountain Home has gone from a doormat to an ultra-competitive team, and they are making great inroads very quickly. And so the folks down there wanted a winner with their Bomber football team, so they went out and got a winner for a coach. And that was the first step. And Mountain Home won 6 this year, won a playoff game, and it's...
They won 6-6.
The sky's the limit for what Bomber football can be, and I know people down there are very excited. So,
congratulations, Steve.
Absolutely. Steve Airy, the coach of the year for football for us for our banquet this year, and he's a two-timer. He has been a coach of the year with the Zizzers, too. Now let's move on to volleyball, and again, we're repeating some of what we already said, but it bears repeating because Kabul volleyball has really been a top-flight program.
Well, and what Coach Julia Reeves has been able to do, you know, with the program, bringing Kabul all the way up to SCA champion, district champion, back-to-back. You know, her girls play hard. They're a hard out, and she's just doing a fantastic job in the SCA with her Kabul Lady Bulldogs. So, Julia Reeves, congratulations again on you receiving the Volleyball Coach of the Year award.
I'll throw one thing in about her and about her program. Sometimes you can catch lightning in a bottle and be good for a year, but an indication that you're going in the right direction, that your program is making that turn into a solid year-to-year program, is when you're able to put great seasons together. And they've put great seasons together back-to-back, conference undefeated champions this year in the SCA, and it's pretty obvious that she's got an idea about how to run that volleyball program and come up with winning teams, and she does a fantastic job. So congratulations to Julia and her team, and also her players that we've had for our banquet here, and also Kabul High School for bringing her in and really turning things around. So that takes care of it for us. Josie Atkins, the volleyball player of the year. Tyler Watts is the football player of the year. Steve Airy, the football coach of the year. And Coach Reeves gets the award this year. Julia is our volleyball coach of the year. So those are the end of banquet awards. Again, we want to say thank you to everyone who helped make it possible with our sponsors, and hopefully we'll be able to do this in person next year.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody's hoping next year is different.
Well, it's 2020, so 2021 will be better.
So we look forward to hopefully seeing you next fall in more normal surroundings. But again, thanks for watching this video, and you've been seeing the names of businesses there on the bottom line as coaches have been speaking. And hopefully when you get a chance and you're in their business, make sure to drop in and tell them thanks for supporting high school athletics and our effort to honor these young people on the sports banquet here this year on OzarkRadioNews.com. We thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. And hopefully we will literally see you next year.